Hey, what's up? We're lifewithoutpants with another Path of Exile video, and in today's video we're going to talk about our League Starter plans. This is our League Start build, Explosive Trap of Shrapnel on Trickster. Let's just chuck a T16 map in here and you can have a look at it. I'm not using endgame gear yet. I mean, I do have, like, there's a couple of things which I think are pretty endgame, like as in day 2 of the League endgame. So I've got a Sunblast, I've got a Sequence of Suffering, Alternating Scepter, and I've got a 6-link. But everything else is pretty. I think my gloves are item level 70, my hat is item level 71. I found this Titanium Spirit Shield with the max life on it. There's a lot of pretty trash gear, but let's just have a look at this, how this build plays. I really like this. If you don't like traps, you're not going to like this build, honestly. But if you do, or if you're okay with the traps playstyle, then this build is, I think, is a really strong League starter. I think there's going to be a lot of bossing early on in the league to be done, and I am definitely going to be engaging with that, especially the T17 maps. That looks really, really fun. So this is what it looks like. You can just run around throwing down your traps. It's really tanky. You got full spell suppress from the tree and our ascendancy. You gain a lot of stuff. Oh, I think that's immortal packs. You gain a lot of stuff from just the tree, honestly. You get a lot of energy shield. We got like around 1k energy shield. We got 3.5k life. We got a bunch of auras on as well, and there's some other tech that we're going to go into. So there's this Summon Holy Relic, and then you can get a free aura, so you can just take Zealotry for a little bit whilst the Holy Relic is alive. So you can use that on bosses just to burst them down really, really quickly. Let's get into our leveling trees and we'll take a look. As you can see, it's just, it rips through stuff really, really well, and I'm really enjoying it. So this is definitely what we're going to start off with. So let's go and look at our trees. Okay, so here is our path of building. I've got a pretty comprehensive leveling guide here. So we've got Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 to 10 early maps, mid maps and a crit swap, and then late maps and bossing. So let's just embiggen this. So we're going to start off just coming straight over here, taking Trickery and coming down to Blood Siphon for a little bit of extra life and some strength, because there's a couple of red gems we use occasionally, like Vitality is quite nice early on for a little bit of recovery. And we get 10 life per enemy kill, which is also very nice early on in the campaign. Coming down to Elemental Focus, and we're taking Cold-Hearted Calculation. Now, once we've finished up killing Merveil, we're going to take this Saboteur node here, so we can get 2 extra traps placed at a time and a bit of extra damage. We're coming over here to take 30 life when your trap is triggered by an enemy, which is very nice. Expeditious Munitions. And then we're coming over here to take Snowforged, and the reason for that is that we're using Fire Trap for single target throughout the campaign. So it's, you know, this extra fire damage, and ignited by you have -5 to elemental resistance is really, really nice. Once we get into Act 3, we're, you know, blasting after the Vile Pyramid. We're going to take Written in Blood, which is to take this life wheel over here, and then we're coming straight down this spine here and coming up to the trap and the trap damage cluster here. We're going to take Trap Mastery for 5% chance to throw 4 additional traps. That's a 1 in 20 chance, so it's not. It's just nice when it happens. Really, it's not very consistent, but it's a nice one to have. And then we're taking the Mind Drinker, because mana is a bit of a problem for this build for a lot of the time. Honestly, if you hate mana starved builds, then this is going to be difficult. But we're also going to take 12% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. Now, once we have zoomed into Act 4, we're coming down here, we're taking the life wheel and +50 to life, because survivability becomes quite important in Act 4, I find. Then Act 5, we're coming up here and we're taking the mana reservation efficiency and non-curse aura from your skills. We're going to take 8% increased damage for each of your aura or herald skills affecting you, because we do get quite a few. I have a couple of like free sockets sometimes, so I just chuck in Clarity because I want the mana regen. I chuck in a Vitality, maybe just a level 2 or level 3 Vitality, not much, but just a little bit, and it makes a huge difference. And also you get 8% increased damage for each one of those. So then Act 6, we're on the beach with Lily, and we're coming, and honestly this is the worst part of the whole thing, is we have to come all the way down here And it feels bad because we don't take a lot of clusters here. We just take this survivalist over here. Gives us some extra elemental resistances, which is nice in Act 6 because you just got your minus 30. We're getting some evasion rating as well. And then we're taking herbalism down here for a bunch of extra life. So survivability quite important when it comes to Act 6. You may be a bit resistance starved, so that's really nice to get. Act 7 to Act 8. Basically we're Act 7 to Act 10 rather, we're taking quick step over here, so we're going to get a little bit of move speed, which is always nice during the campaign. We've got the percent increase extra life, got a little bit of suppression here. We're taking charisma, and auras from your skills have 10% increased effect on you, and that's going to help us squeeze in a few more auras. And then over here we're taking this melding wheel as well, so a bunch of extra life and reservation nodes here. Really helps us squeeze a lot of stuff in. And then in early maps, we're coming down here and we're going to take 40% of fizz damage converted to cold damage, because Explosive Trap is a physical and fire gem. So this is going to convert all of our damage to elemental at this point, and that means that then we can scale elemental damage. We don't have to worry about fizz reflect in maps, which is nice. We're taking one of these basic jewel sockets just so that you can get, you can chuck in stuff that you think your build is missing. So maybe you're missing some strength for one of the items, or you're missing some resistances. You can just chuck it on a jewel socket. Obviously, crit multi with fire skills is one of the best things to get. We're taking innovate here. Now it depends. You can suppress cap with just the tree and the ascendancies, and if you do get extra stuff on ascendancy or on your gear, then just take this off, but you get some extra points. And there's a few places you can put those extra points, like this Revenge of the Hunted is a really, really great wheel down here, because you get some suppress as well, but a 10% increased max life and evasion rating as well, and that's really, really useful. So evasion rating quite important for this build, along with energy shield. Then we're taking this basic jewel socket over here, and that's about it for the early maps. At this point as well, you probably want to take the cold damage one and remove that. I think it will probably give you a little bit more damage. But then we're going to get into mid maps and the crit swap. So we're going to swap into doing crits, or going crit as much as possible here. And for that we're going to take a couple of clusters and we're going to move some things around. So if I compare this with the early maps one, we can see here we've removed this side of the trap cluster here, and we're taking the other side, because this is all the increased crit strike chance with traps. It's the crit multi with traps. Over here we're adding in the assassination node, which is crit multi and crit chance, and this one here. And then we're removing these points here. We're keeping the saboteur one, so obviously we're adding in these couple of points here to get some extra points, so we can take these ones off. And this is where you swap from fire damage to cold damage on this node, and that's about it. Obviously we've taken the crit strike heat seeker one over here. I can just stop doing that, stop comparing, and we've got a cluster, we've got two clusters in fact, and the clusters are small armor for enduring composure and a trap and mine damage cluster. What a surprise. So trap and mine damage cluster, you want guerrilla tactics, and if you can get it, set and forget as well. But guerrilla tactics is fantastic. It's just a bunch of throwing speed, it's a bunch of damage, and you also get a little bit of move speed if you've thrown a trap or mine recently. Set and forget is nice. In fact, I've got a Craft of Exile thing up here, so we can see, medium class of trap and mine damage. So if I look for speed here, then guerrilla tactics and expert sabotage after level 50 are the only two speed reforges. So you could just reforge speed in the harvest, and you will get you're more likely to get guerrilla tactics than expert sabotage, and it's so it's 50% chance to get one of those, 25% chance to get that, and then 25% chance to get a trap and mine throwing speed. And I think it's around 8 reforges if you just reforge speed, and you will get one of these things, which is going to be useful rather than just non-useful, and guerrilla tactics as well. So really, really easy to make. You just need a eye level 50 or eye level 68, I think is best, trap and mine cluster, 4 passive or 5 passive, and you'll be able to make one of those really, really, really easily. When it comes to this small cluster, the enduring composure one, it's defenses, and if we go we highlight defenses, there's a million things here, so there's no point doing this in the harvest crafting bench. You just alt spam for enduring composure, and that gives you +1 endurance charge every second you've been hit recently. So you will find that you are at maximum endurance charges a lot of the time, and it's so tanky. It's a really, really good way to stack defenses, because endurance charge is a really, really good defense. So this is the crit swap, and then we've got the late maps and bossing section here. And if we just do the comparison again with this, you can see we've taken extra frenzy charges. More on that later when we get into our ascendancies. We've got Mark the Prey, because we're going to be using Assassin's Mark as well. We've got another frenzy charge. More on that later. And then we're going up here to Whispers of Doom, and it's just 4 points over to Whispers of Doom. We've got increased cast build speed for the curses, but effect for the curses as well. And we're removing the melding wheel, just to make sure we've got enough points to do it. If you don't feel comfortable taking away all this life and ES, then don't, and just do this a bit more slowly. But I think the thing you can sort of hold off on is probably the marked enemy stuff. So the Mark the Prey, if you want to hold off on any of it. But it's up to you. See how it feels when you're doing it, because if you don't feel tanky enough, then taking away, what is this? It's like 16% increased life and like 10-15% increased ES. It's quite a lot, so maybe you don't want to do that. Anyway, so that's all for the skills. Let's just talk about the ascendancies real quick. So in Act 3, you're going to, I'll stop comparing this, you're going to go straight over, once you've done your normal lab, you're going to do 1 step ahead, so you get 108% action speed always, which means you can't be frozen, which is nice, because frozen is just 0% action speed, and nearby enemy monsters' action speed is 92% of base value, so enemies around you are always slower, which is a really effective, tanky, tankiness, or really effective defensive layer, that everybody around you is at least 8% slower. So once you have finished up in Act 7, I believe it is, we'll just go here, then you're going to take Polymath, so you get 3% more damage for each type of mastery that you have allocated, which is really, really nice. You can get, I got 13% increased damage here, but this goes up to at least 18-20% based on how many masteries you get. And you get the recovery as well on kill, which is super good. The recovery on this build is really, really nice. Then once you're in early maps, then you're going to take Escape Artist, so you got evasion rating per 1 max ES on your equipped helmet, so you want to be doing a hubris circlet, and +1 max ES per 6 evasion rating on equipped body armor, so you want to have a really high evasion base body armor. Then you're going to go with for our Uber Lab, we're going to go with Spellbreaker, which is 20% chance to suppress spell damage. So we're getting a lot of spell suppress. We're getting preventing spell suppress whilst we're on full ES as well, and 50% chance for ES to start, the recharge to start when you hit suppress spell damage, when you start suppressing spell damage. And we're also going to swap out 1 step ahead for Swift Killer, because again, we're stacking those frenzy charges, and that's what I mean. The more frenzy charges you get, it's just such a big boost to your damage, your move speed. It's really, really useful. So that's it as far as the ascendancy goes for the bandits. We're just gonna kill all of them and get 2 points. And for our Pantheon, I went with Brine King and the life recharge one, the life flask charge one. Let's have a look here. It's Rislatha. I don't think you need to take these. I just like the stun. I haven't upgraded these at all, and it's still, it's still a really nice build. I was playing this build in T60 maps, and I forgot that I hadn't even done Uber Lab yet. So it's really nice and really, really effective build. So now let's talk about what kind of skills we're going to be taking. Alright, so talking about our skills for Act 1, we're going to come straight out of the beach, going to kill Relic, and we're going to take Explosive Trap. I like Frostblink as a movement skill to use in Act 1 because you can freeze stuff, and Bear Trap is a super good defense. I used to not want to use Bear Trap. I use it all the time now. It's so good for like if you're getting chased down by a rare, just to immobilize it. They take more damage as well from other traps whilst you do that, and that means you can use Fire Trap with added cold damage, and you can do a lot of single target to them. We're using Fire Trap as a single target. Explosive Trap, I like to use the skill I'm going to be using later on as much as possible. I don't think it's that possible with this build, but I put it in anyway just because I enjoy it. When we come into Act 2, we're going to be using, again, Fire Trap, Swift Assembly, and Trap and Mine damage. So we're going to take that added cold damage out and just chuck. If you can get a 3 green in Act 2, then this is going to be really useful. If you can get a 4 link green, which is possible in Act 2, but only in the last zone, then you could put in added cold in here as well. We're going to take Skitterbots and Clarity. Clarity, I think you want to have that around level 3 or something like that. But Skitterbots, really fantastic aura for us to go with straight away. Wave of Conviction we're going to use because it can apply exposure to stuff, so we can just burst, like do a Wave of Conviction on some of the enemies around us, and we'll be able to, they'll get the negative resistances, and we'll be able to burst them down a bit more. Again, Bear Trap as well for defenses. Acts 3 to 5, Armageddon Brand makes the campaign really easy. So I think you should use Armageddon Brand. I'm going to be using it, and I have used it the last couple of times. I've tried out going with Explosive Trap. I've tried going out with a bunch of other stuff. And Armageddon Brand just makes everything really easy. So you should use it. Make your life easy. We've got Summon Skitterbots and Clarity. Again, we've got Wave of Conviction still. We've got Flammability because you get a curse once you've killed Gravicious. And that's, Flammability, it's minus a bunch to fire resistance, really useful. At this point, you could perhaps consider dropping Wave of Conviction as well. Bear Trap still. Flame Dash just because it makes the campaign quicker. It's up to you though. It depends what kind of movement skill you enjoy. Add Inspiration into your Armageddon Brand when you can. Into the Fire Trap setup, because you can Armageddon Brand for clear and then Fire Trap for the single target. So when you get to bosses, then this is really useful. And having Inspiration in there reduces that mana cost, makes it a whole lot easier. So then Act 6 to 10, now you get access to Lily. I have historically been doing the library to get all the gems for this, because I play this with a shield and a scepter, and that means you can use either Leap Slam or you can use Shield Charge. And if you go to the library, then you can go and get those things very easily, and literally every other gem. So once you get into Act 6, then you're looking at a 3 blue, 1 red with Fire Pen, Combustion, Ellie Prolif, and Armageddon Brand. Your Fire Trap setup is going to be 3 green, 1 red with Inspiration on it. You're going to have Flame Dash or Frostblink or Dash. I guess you could if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but Summon Skitterbots and Clarity for our auras. Wave of Conviction at this point I think is not really that useful. Flammability is going to be your bread and butter, and then Bear Trap still. And then once we get into the end game, this is where things start to get interesting. This is what you want to move to into as soon as you get into maps. So this is, these are the useful things to have in your 6 link day 1, probably. Depends on how long you play. But Immortal Call, so this is just a defensive setup. So you've got Immortal Call, increase duration, cosmic damage taken. So that means, we don't get any instant stuff on the left click anymore. So now we've just got to have this. Shield Charge and faster attacks I use on I have it on spacebar, so I can just charge around and zoom, and then I get Bear Trap, and I put this in the wand or scepter or my shield, depending on what kind of shield I've got. Clarity and Vitality, I think it's really useful to have these, and I think having them low level is fine. I would actually swap this around, so 5 here and maybe 8 on Clarity, because again, mana is a bit of a sticking point for this build. Skitterbots, Hatred, Herald of Ash, with the amount of mana reservation efficiency that we're getting on the tree, and 1 not so great essence on the helmet, then this is very easily attainable to have these 3 auras, and they do a lot of they make up a lot. And then we got our curse set up, and for the curse, because we've gone with because we've got Whispers of Doom over here, so you can apply additional curse. That means that we can have just Assassin's Mark and Ellie weakness, because once you swap into getting this cold conversion down here, the 40% of fizz converted to cold, at that point Ellie weakness becomes better than flammability, because then you get a lot of weakness to elemental damage. So that's really, really nice. And just chuck it on an Arcanist brand and have that. You can just throw it up when you hit a rare or when you find a boss, and it really, really does help a lot, because you get all the crit strike chance, you get all crit multi, and you also get minus 30 to elemental resistances, and that's for both fire and cold, so really, really useful. And then Explosive Trap of Shrapnel is the goal for this build. Explosive Trap will do whilst you're leveling, but it's, I think, the first thing that I will buy. There'll be a lot of people getting Explosive Trap of Shrapnel, I imagine, from the lab, and this is the most important thing in the build, really, because the clear is, it's so nice. Then we've got increased crit damage, so a lot of crit multi. We've got charge traps, trap up. So this is giving us, frenzy charges. It's giving us power charges. We've got trap and mind damage. We've got inspiration, and we've got conk effect as well. Because conk effect, even though we did get a nerf in the radius of the secondary explosions, and I think the primary explosions as well, it's 30% more damage, and it's so, so nice. So that's it for the skills. Now let's talk about the items. Alright, so for items, I'm just going to talk about the endgame stuff. Obviously, as you're zooming through the campaign, you want to pick up as much resistance as you can get. But for our just regular stuff that we want to end up with once we hit T14, T15, T16 maps, the late red maps, an alternating scepter is the best for us. So if you can get just a regular scepter or a regular wand with +1 level of all fire spell skill gems, you could also go fizz as well. If you find one and it's fizz, then that also works, because as you can see, for Explosive Trap with Shrapnel, it's trap, spell, AoE, fire, and fizz. So any +1 for that is great. For an alternating scepter, these come from Heist. The way to make one of these with its Secrets of Suffering is very, very important for us, because it's a lot of damage. Putting the sap and the scorch and stuff on the enemies is really, really good damage. So with Secrets of Suffering, it's a really, really good base, and then you want to get a +1 level of all fire spell skill gems on it. You could try to ult spam for this. It's not a good idea. It's not that frequent, and there's a vendor recipe for it instead, so you should just do that. So the way to vendor it is you get the white scepter, so get the scepter, an alternating scepter, scour it, and then vendor it alongside gems with the fire tag and quality. And the quality total has to be 40%. So if you have 10 gems with the fire tag and they're all 4% quality and an alternating scepter, it doesn't have to be exactly 40%, then the vendor will give you a +1 level of all fire spell skill gems scepter back. So then you can augment that, don't alt it, augment that, and then regal it, and then just craft on increased crit strike chance for spells on the crafting bench. And that's pretty much what you want for your end game scepter. It's really, really good. For a offhand, you can, I don't know why I'm taking this as a transfer attuned spirit shield. That's a mistake on my part, but I use just a titanium spirit shield because it has a lot of energy shield. So you can take a titanium spirit shield and you'll get a lot of ES, and just throw on, I believe it's an Essence of Scorn. Let's just go and have a quick look here. Is it this one? It's maybe, where is Scorn? Oh, it's one of the purple ones. Yeah, so just an Essence of Scorn on your armor will give it crit strike chance for spells. So on the shield rather. So increased crit strike chance for spells. You just need to hit it with that. If you can find like if you have a lot of them, then try and go for something like I put 2 on here. So this is all res and fire res, which is really nice. It makes the build really easy to play. But if you get like lots of energy shield, or there's lots of options here. If you can get +1 to all level of fire spell skill gems, that's obviously the best. For our helmet, we're looking at a hubris circlet because high energy shield base, and we want to just use I think it's Essence of Loathing down. Oh no, it's this one here. So an Essence of Loathing is going to give us mana reservation efficiency of skills. You don't need to use a Deafening Essence. Low tier essence farming has been nerfed this league, so I think just a Shrieking Essence is fine, and it gives you a little bit more comfiness to work around with. I don't even have this on mine because, again, this is a level 71. We did this in SSF, this build, and then brought it into the Affliction League. But just a couple of Loathing Essences, and you'll probably find you'll eventually get either a decent resistance or some life or something, and then you can just craft on one other thing. For our body armor, the important thing is low dex requirement, if you can get it, a 6-link. And the best in slot for this is a 6-link Kintsugi with a corruption implicit that will help out our explosive traps. So you want either level of all gems or AoE gems, trap gems, etc, etc. Anything that you can get which boosts the explosive trap of shrapnel level, because that's 15% more damage per level, then that's really, really good. And in the meantime, whilst you're trying to buy a 6-link Kintsugi with the right corruption, or you're trying to buy one with the right corruption, you could just use a 6-link dex base. It's fine. It's really, really good. I just put an Essence of Greed on this. I put an Essence of Greed on, and I got Cold Res. I got Spell Suppress, which is a nice surprise. Dex. The build is a little bit dex starved, so it was really, really nice to get that. But yeah, you just need 2 blue, 1 red, and 3 green. And the best way to do that is to bench 1 blue, and I think it's around 10 tries, and you'll get 1 blue. You'll get 2 blue, 1 red, and 3 green. So if you have just this evasion base, it's really easy to get the right socket colors. For our gloves, we just want life, energy shield, resistances. That's it. For the implicits on these, I don't have implicits on. I don't have implicits on our body armor. I don't have them on the boots. I don't even have them on the helmet. Like I said, this is very league starty. But for the gloves, if you can get converted to cold damage, fizz converted to cold, that is quite nice. But also, unnerve enemies for 4 seconds on hit is really good. I think I got that accidentally and just kept it. And then increased effect of your marks is also quite nice as well. There's a lot of options for the implicits on those. For boots, you just want move speed, life, resistances. Nothing out of the ordinary here. For our amulet, the best thing for us to get is a citrine amulet, because this build is a little strength and dex starved, because we're largely in the intelligence area of the tree. So a citrine amulet is the best, and you don't have to get that. You can take whatever you can find on trade or whatever you can find, but +1 level of all fire skill gems is obviously really important for the amulet slot, because it's another place we can get +1 to the explosive trap gem. You want to just look for life and a resistance, something like that, and then you want to craft on non-channeling skills have -7 to mana cost, because like I said, it's a mana starved build, and you definitely want to reduce the mana where you can. For our rings, I'm just going with chaos res rings with life and some other life resistances. Chaos res is also nice. The ones I have on now, I actually this is part of my secret league start strat, don't tell anyone, but I'm just going to do a bunch of harvest as I go through through yellow maps and onwards, because that's when it actually kind of becomes useful. And any amethyst ring I pick up, I'm just going to reforge chaos on it. And I did this last league, and some of them sold for like 4 divines in the first few days. I was wondering whether these people were getting 4 divines in the first few days, but some of them sold for like 4 divines. Some of them were selling for like 20C or something. It's always worth it to do these. And any amethyst ring I picked up, I just would instantly craft Chaos Fez on it. I'd try and reforge Chaos and see what it was worth. And then you can either put Elrion craft on it or Life. It's up to you. But I'm also going to be doing Betrayal, and I think the Elrion crafts are going to be very, very important this league, because they've removed so much reduction of mana from a few places. So I think that's going to be quite important. For a belt, best in slot, for my money personally, is a Sunblast, and that's because it throws 2 additional traps, but they can't be triggered by enemies anymore. So they the traps just wait till they expire, and then they explode. So it does increase the delay between throwing, the damage delay between throwing the trap and the damage occurring. It's really good, and I know it's not for everyone. So maybe if you don't want that, you can just take like a Stygian Vice, and I think there's a trap throwing speed. Yeah, it's this one. So a Shrieking Essence of Zeal. If you chuck this on a belt, then it increased trap and mine throwing speed. So you could just chuck one of these on a belt and figure out what you get. Because with the Sunblast, all you're really getting is a little bit of fire resistance and the whole, traps thing. So it's up to you. I would say maybe Sunblast are going to be, I think there's going to be quite a popular build this league, and I think maybe Sunblast is going to be a little bit expensive, especially day 1. So it's up to you. If you can't get a Sunblast, then don't worry about it and just get a Stygian. You get some extra life from the jewel you socket in it, and some other resistances. As far as flasks go, we're just going with a Corrupted Blood Immunity Life Flask. We're going with a Crit Strike Chance Diamond Flask, a Jade Flask of Evasion, and a Quicksilver Flask of Movement Speed. So nothing hugely out of the ordinary here. Maybe a Quartz Flask of whatever you want. I put Quartz Flask of Flexbot because this is up to you, really. Phasing's really, really good in this build because you can just zoom through everyone, dropping mines, dropping traps and running away, and then only going back if you hear like a tink or something like that. Again, we already covered the cluster jewels, so for the Enduring Composure one, just Alt Spam, Augment, Regal. For Guerrilla Tactics on the medium cluster, just reforge speed a few times, and then these small jewels here, these Crimson Jewels, crit multi with fire skills, really, really good, and just fill out whatever you don't have on the build, whatever you might be needing. So you could get some extra life, you could get some resistances, you could get like a little bit of strength and dex or something. It's up to you. But that's it for the items, and let's just wrap up. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this build guide. I just wanted to mention that there is a Summon Holy Relic and linked aura kind of tech as well that you can use. So you can use Guardian's Blessing support and Summon Holy Relic, and that means that basically the aura that you link this with is free whilst the minion that you used as sacrifice is alive. And Summon Holy Relic has some like decent regen, so it stays alive for a little bit longer. You can see it here if I just summon my relic. Here it is, and then I turn on Zealotry here, so it gives us a bunch extra, and you can see the relic dying here. So this is useful if you go into a boss and you just want to lay down a bunch of mines and then just quickly tuck that on and get your brands up. It can give you a nice little bit of burst. It's a little bit sort of, it's too many buttons for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this, but I wanted to mention it because it's really, really useful. I also wanted to mention that there is a guy, Fearless Dumbo, on YouTube. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, along with the POB for this build. And he's been playing this build for ages, and I watched a bunch of his videos, and I think it was one of the main reasons I started considering. I knew I wanted to do Trickster and Traps this league, and he's the one that absolutely convinced me by his videos that Explosive Trap was going to be the best choice. So shout out to him, and honestly that's it. I hope you really enjoy this. Stop by the Twitch channel, Life Without Pants, and we're live pretty much every day, especially during League launch. And if you have any questions about the build, come and ask. More than happy to help out. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you have a great League launch. I hope you wake up on the beach on Friday, raring to go. I hope you are kind to everyone you meet. I love you all very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.